I've always loved gardening. It's my therapy, my hobby, my pride. I moved into this neighborhood about 3 years ago, and one of the first things I did was plant a small flower bed in front of my house. Nothing too crazy, just some roses, tulips, and a couple of hanging baskets. My front yard finally felt like home, but then there was Bella. Bella lives directly across the street, and if you ask her, she's the self-appointed guardian of the block. She doesn't hold any official title, she's not on the city council, she's not part of any neighborhood watch, she's just Bella. And somehow, that was enough for her to think she could control everything. At first, I thought she was just chatty. On my second week in the neighborhood, she walked over, introduced herself, and gave me a list of unwritten rules about how things were supposed to be done around here. No bright lights at night, no more than 2 cars in your driveway, keep your garbage bins hidden at all times, and apparently no wild-looking gardens. I laughed it off, thinking she was just being neighborly. Oh, how wrong I was. One sunny morning, I was watering my roses when Bella marched over with a clipboard in hand. Your flowers, she said, wrinkling her nose, are too bright. They're clashing with the neighborhood aesthetic. I blinked at her. They're just roses. Red roses. The most normal flowers in existence. Bella sighed like I had just committed a crime. This neighborhood values uniformity. You can't just plant whatever you want. It looks messy. I tried to be polite. Well, I like them. And they're on my property. That was the first time I saw the infamous Bella scowl. We'll see about that, she muttered, scribbling something on her clipboard before stomping back across the street. The very next week, I got a letter taped to my door. It wasn't from the city. It wasn't from any official organization. It was a letter from Bella. She had written it in bold, underlined text, notice of violation, your garden does not meet the neighborhood standards of visual harmony. Failure to remove the offending plants within 14 days will result in further action. Signed, Bella. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the letter. Who did this woman think she was? The garden police, so of course. I ignored it. Ignoring Bella was like waving a red flag in front of a bull. Within days, she started complaining to other neighbors. I caught her on multiple occasions pointing at my yard while whispering to anyone who would listen. Soon, I overheard little comments, oh, that garden looks wild. Doesn't really fit with the neighborhood. Bella was running a smear campaign, about flowers, but I wasn't going to let her win. If she thought my roses were too much, then she hadn't seen anything yet. The very next weekend, I went shopping. I bought sunflowers, hydrangeas, lavender, peonies, and even a few decorative shrubs. My little flower bed turned into a full-on display. I installed a small white trellis and let climbing roses twist around it. When Bella saw me unloading bags of soil and mulch, her eyes nearly popped out of her head. She marched over again, clipboard ready. This is unacceptable, she snapped. You're expanding? I smiled sweetly. Of course. Gardening brings me joy. You can't just do this. You're ruining the neighborhood's aesthetic. Oh, don't worry, I said, patting her on the shoulder. It'll look uniformly beautiful soon. She stormed off, muttering about calling someone. If Bella was going to gossip about me, I was going to beat her at her own game. I invited neighbors over for a weekend garden tea. I set up chairs, made lemonade, and let people walk around and enjoy the flowers. To my surprise, almost everyone loved it. They complimented the roses, admired the lavender, and even asked for gardening tips, except Bella. She stood on her porch across the street, arms crossed, glaring like the villain in a soap opera. A few days later, I found my roses cut. Someone had taken scissors and snipped off half the blooms. I was furious. And I knew exactly who had done it. I didn't have proof yet. But I set up a small motion sensor camera hidden in one of the shrubs. Sure enough, 2 nights later, I caught Bella on video creeping into my yard with garden shears. That was the final straw. Instead of confronting her directly, I decided to go nuclear. With petty gardening warfare, I printed out the video stills of Bella trespassing and cutting my flowers. I showed them to a few trusted neighbors. The gossip spread like wildfire, except this time, it was against Bella. I went on a planting spree. I expanded the garden all the way down the side of my house. I added solar lights, decorative stones, and even a small fountain. My yard became the most colorful, vibrant, and well-kept property on the entire block, and the best part? Other neighbors started following my lead. Soon, gardens popped up left and right. It wasn't just me anymore, Bella was surrounded by flowers. Bella tried everything to stop it. She sent more fake notices. She yelled at people. She even called the city, claiming I had built an unauthorized structure with my trellis. When a city inspector finally came, he looked around, complimented my garden, and told me everything was perfectly legal. Bella's face when she heard that was priceless. Slowly but surely, her influence crumbled. People stopped listening to her. They stopped inviting her to block gatherings. She went from being the self-appointed queen of the street to the outcast who had nothing better to do than complain. Now, my garden is bigger and brighter than ever. Every season, I add something new: dahlias in summer, chrysanthemums in fall, poinsettias in winter. Bella? She still lives across the street. But she avoids me now. She doesn't even make eye contact. Sometimes, I catch her curtains twitching as she watches me water the flowers, seething silently, and honestly? That's the sweetest victory of all, because in the end, Bella didn't just fail to destroy my garden, she inspired an entire neighborhood of gardeners. And now, the block looks more alive, more beautiful, and more colorful than ever, all thanks to her complaints, so thank you, Bella. Your pettiness only made my garden grow.